Hi, this is Carol Richards with CWC Drum Circles. Today we make soft mallets. Why do you need a soft mallet? Well, that's up to you. If you are in a drum circle, if you're part of a drum circle, if you own the equipment, you may want to give that option of a soft mallet. It's easier on your drum. And depending on the drum, some are meant for mallets, some are not. But they are meant for a mallet, and maybe you need a lot of them. Maybe you have a lot of craft items lying around. You can make your own. I will tell you though, if you're not crafty and you don't have these things lying around, then this might not be the cheapest way to do it. In that case, I would really recommend Remo has an NSL Not So Loud mallet that they make. And you can go on to westmusic.com and even use my code CAROLR, and you can get free shipping. So give it a try. It's not on everything, but certain items, especially Drums Alive things, and I think that would include the mallets. But let's get back to making our own, because I needed a lot. I wanted 20 pairs of mallets, and I just happened to have pool noodles. So I took a pool noodle, and I cut it down to about the size for the top of a mallet. And then what I did, I wanted to round the top a little bit. And you just do these with scissors. Regular scissors are fine. Pool noodles, easy to cut. And if you have a dollar store in your area, of course, one big long pool noodle is $1. You can make an awful lot of mallets out of one pool noodle. So that's the first thing, $1 spent. All right. So now I have my two tops. And then I had two drumsticks that I cut down. So I cut the head down through the shoulder off of them, so that I had the same width here as it's on the bottom. And these just came with a coating on them. That's all they were. And I didn't pay any more from them. Guitar Center puts these on sale every now and then. So that's another good shopping tip. Wait till they put the more like the drumline practice sticks that are nice and thick. Great for mallets. All right, let's get back to what we're doing. I have a little glue. For those that are really into hot glue, I don't really recommend hot glue for this because these are extremely smooth surfaces, and once hot glue dries, it tends to peel off easily, so your mallet might not last too long. So I don't recommend that. So I'm going to take a little glue, coat the top, put plenty on there. Don't be shy. Watch the type of glue that you're using. If it's something really heavy duty, should you have a mask on? Should you have good airflow? Any kind of glue, you probably should have some decent airflow, that you get all woozy. All right. Then I'm going to put that on. Here's the part I didn't trim. Here's the part I trimmed that's on top. I'm going to put that in there. Now you see there's a little bit of a gap there. Now everything I just trimmed off, I am going to stuff that in there. Right? I can stuff that in there to even that out. All right. Now, I just so happen to have these little tins that tea came in. And guess what? They're the perfect size for a pool noodle. So I'm going to place that in there and make sure that's in there good. And then I'm going to again take these little bits that I cut off with my scissors, and I'm going to put them around the edge and stuff that in there so that the stick is good and tight and waiting to dry. Just enough in there so it doesn't wobble around. All right, and I make sure that that's in there good. And I set it aside for 24 hours and let it dry. So that's one. When you pull them out, this is what it looks like. All right? And it's not perfect. Who cares? These are for fun, right? These are for fun. If you're going to do a big community drum circle, it's for fun. You're not playing in a professional orchestra, so ease up on yourself. Now, what you can do is, and sometimes I do this, sometimes I don't. I happen to have some scrap leather. I went to the local arts and crafts store. I bought a bag of scrap leather. And so I can cut a circle. Out of leather. I can put a little glue on the top. Set that piece of leather on top of there. And then it gives me something a little softer for when I put the fabric over. And the fabric won't wear as easily. It's up to you though, again. It doesn't really matter whether you do that or not. It's just something a little extra that I'll sometimes do. Now, if you have fabric laying around, it could be an old outfit, right? It's something that you were going to toss away, a t-shirt, scrap piece of fabric. This looks like suede, and this was an old couch cover that I had years ago, and I'm so glad I didn't throw it away because it looks like suede. And I cut a 12-inch round. If you have fabric that will unravel after you cut it, and of course you'll know if you've never done this before, if you cut it and all of a sudden it has all these unraveling ends, you should really get yourself a pair of pinking shears. See that? Because then they stop that from happening. But again, if it's going to cost you a lot of money, it might not be worth doing it. So I glued that end on. I'm going to set this over the top, and I'm going to look at that and try to get that as even as I can. But don't be a perfectionist about it. Get it close. And then I'm going to pull it down over. Now, if you're using t-shirt material, you know what I found works good too? Socks. I use socks when I make buffalo drum beaters. I'll show you that another time. So I have that pulled down. Okay. And if you have little cable ties, you could use that. You could use pipe cleaners if you have that. You may just want to tie it with string. So again, look and see what you have. Don't go out buying a bunch of things or else this does not come out saving you any money. If you have the cable ties, and I use the small ones, and I'll show you the pros and cons of that. The nice thing is I can get it started, right? And now it's holding it, and in the meantime, I can kind of straighten it out a bit, even it out a little bit, and then start to pull it tighter. And if you need to, get a pair of pliers and get it as tight as you can. I'm going to cut off a little bit on the end, just a little bit. Leave about, I think about an inch so that it'll fold down. From there, a lot of people have electrical tape in their house. At least I do because my husband is an electrician, so I have a lot of electrical tape. So you may not. It's pretty cheap. So if you're going to buy something, this might be okay. So this is one way you can do it. You can then wrap, because that cable tie, look, that's a sharp end. I can't just leave that cable tie like that. So I really need to put something over it. The nice thing about electrical tape, it really stretches. You can get it nice and tight. You can wrap it round and round and round quite a few times and cut it. Now here is the downside to electrical tape, and here's the downside about using a cable tie. Cable ties, you'll have this little, can you see it, this little thing sticking out right here. If that doesn't bother you, fine. It's really small, so it really shouldn't be a problem. Electrical tape will sometimes on the end, the very end, over, after one use, will come undone a little bit. So I did find this friction tape. It's called friction tape. I found it in the aisle with, what was it in? I think it was just General Hardware. They wrap hockey sticks with this. They wrap a lot of other things. So you can take a little friction tape, and I have done it without the electrical tape and just used the friction tape. So you could do that too. I just kind of try different things all the time. It's nice and sticky, and I can go around with that one time. it sticks to itself really well. But you can come up with different options. Try different things, right? And then make sure that's good and stuck down there. The cable tie isn't going anywhere. It's just a matter of that sharp end trying to do something. Even if you used a pipe cleaners have sharp ends. You got to figure out who might be using it. Now I have all this on the end. Now you might be happy with that. You might say, oh, I like that. It's kind of nice. I found that this was a little too much to be on the end. So you can either, if you want to shorten it a little bit, use your pinking shears and you can shorten it that way. Or if you want it to be as short as you possibly can get it, you could take a pair of scissors, shorten it all the way up, and then you might want to put another piece of tape if you just don't want anything to be seen on the bottom. That's up to you. This one, I just cut it down with the pinking shears so there was very little hanging out there. Last thing is, this one I took a piece of tape, black tape, and made a button for it because it kind of looked more like professional. The other thing, if again you have I have a little scrap of black leather, I can cut a circle out of that. So again, if you have this kind of stuff, if you're craftsy, if you have stuff in your basement, and you could be using it for something, make mallets. Make mallets. You'll protect your drums. Especially when you have people who want to drum hard, or if you're going to do drum circles where there's going to be younger children, they can be really rough on a drum. Never give them a drumstick. Don't just give them a drumstick, but you give them a soft mallet. It'll be a lot nicer sound for everybody, and it will protect your drums. So that's a little word of advice. Just get a little crafty, see what you have, recycle, reuse. And that's it for today. Make your own mallet. See you again next time. Bye-bye.